I don't know. I fell in love with it. Growing up with it, South Florida, all my buddies had EGs, EKs, DCs. I always wanted an EK, and when I got out of boot camp, I bought a first EK, my first adult purchase. I stuck with it. Even till this day, all my friends have moved on to BMWs, other high-end cars, and I still rock a EK as my show car, my go car. It's been fun. I can't let it go.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Automotive Anatomy. Today we have Chris. Chris, thank you so much for making the time for us, man. I really appreciate it. It's gonna be such a joy for a lot of people.
Thanks, man.
So tell us, man, what do you drive?
I drive a 1997 Honda Civic EX with a full MUGEN theme to it now.
All right, so walk us back. Where did this whole car thing start for you? Was it Hondas or was it something else, and then you kind of transitioned to Hondas?
So the first love for me was going to be I want to say it was like a late 90s VW Jetta, Enki Wave 1s on it. It was my brother's friend Mike. Ever since then I was hooked on cars. I was like cars, everything. I slowly transitioned. I used to have a Toyota RAV4 3-door, full Bombex kit, nitrous bottle. I had cut springs from Eibach, the whole nine. It was a fully built. I used to get clowned for it back in the day because it was the one of car in South Florida. And then I transitioned to Hondas. I went to Marine Corps boot camp, came back. I had my stack of money that I made in boot camp, and I bought a car.
So walk us, why was it this one?
Yes.
So how long have you had this car for?
I've had this car for 17 years.
17 years.
17.
Holy crap, man. And so when you picked this one up, obviously it's changed over the years.
It has.
Tell us a little about your latest vision, because to me it looks complete, but I think it's not. But tell us a little about your latest vision.
So the plan is, I eventually do want to bag the car. Perhaps it does get pricey, as we all know. But this motor will come out and go into a hatchback that I picked up, 2000 hatchback, and that hatchback's going to go ahead and get a whole Type R clone look to it. This will get a EM1 B16 in it with the supercharger still attached.
All right. So not only have you owned the car for 17 years, it seems like you bring it wherever you go. First of all, thank you for your service in the military. We really appreciate it, man. Thank you for keeping us safe. Why stick with this platform?
I don't know. I fell in love with it. Growing up with it, South Florida, all my buddies had EGs, EKs, DCs. I always wanted an EK, and when I got out of boot camp, I bought a first EK, my first adult purchase. I stuck with it. Even till this day, all my friends have moved on to BMWs, other high-end cars, and I still rock a EK as my show car, my go car. It's been fun. I can't let it go. Reasons being is that I've got so much time. Obviously, we all know there's a ton of cash invested into it.
We won't talk about that, though, in case the wife's watching.
And then, of course, parts. I've gotten lucky enough to be stationed in Japan, overseas in the beautiful island of Okinawa, and I was able to score so many parts, and till this day I have a ton of parts laying around in my garage.
You know how many people are so pissed right now?
Yeah, like I want to get rid of a lot of parts. Trust me, like I'll eventually start putting them out there, especially being here in Southern California. The scene is huge here compared to what it was in Virginia for me. South Florida was pretty decent, but this is huge here.
So the car's been in Florida and Cali?
Yes,
anywhere else?
so the car's South Florida car, second owner. From there it went to my mom's house, sat for 2 years while I was in Japan my first time. Came back, then I drove it to Texas, South Carolina, back to Florida, where it sat for 5 years while I was overseas.
Wow.
And then when I came back from overseas, I went and picked it up, and then I brought it to, where was it? Georgia, Southwest Georgia, which that place is something else. The scene's there, non-existent, zero. From Georgia, I went to Virginia.
Hey, there's someone in Georgia, you just hurt their feelings, man.
Probably, but Southwest Georgia, where I was stationed at, there was nothing there. It was rough. And then, of course, I made it here to Cali. So I've hauled the car through different states for sure. Well, cross country for sure. It was rough taking it from the East Coast to here because I took everything off the car. Side skirts came off, front bumper came off, back bumper came off. Put Steelies on it. My biggest worry was it's not going to be there next morning. It's still here.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. I mean, you get the call, you're being Cali.
Yeah.
Do you come to Cali and then you kind of start seeing the scene and you're like, shit, I missed my car? Or like, as soon as you got the call, hey, you're going to Cali, you kind of, because you did mention that you were a huge fanatic of Honda tuning, superstreet,
Yes,
all the
growing up.
stuff. Right, so you knew California.
Yeah, like even being, we're here close to the IBOC facility. Even driving further up north, I passed Saline for Mustangs. And that's all just stuff that I've seen growing up. And I was like, man, this is amazing. But let alone being so close to events like Sticky Diljos, the IBOC meets, everything that happens here. It's just super like humbling to actually be in this area right now. So
and thank you for saying that, because I think people that we've grown up here, we take that for granted.
Yeah, hey, this is awesome for me.
So
like,
we really appreciate you actually reminding us, like, hey, like we actually have it very good.
Yeah, this is legit.
We just see MUGEN everything and we just get over it, you know. But it's like somebody from Virginia is like, holy
for me,
shit.
this is like the holy grail. Like coming here, my friends were like, cars. They're everywhere. And lo and behold, like cars and coffee events are every weekend here.
Yeah.
And sure enough, you know, I'm like, man, this is great. So the opportunity comes up, I definitely do go out and get on the cars and see what.
And what's crazy is that even though you're from Virginia and now you're killing the game in Cali, man, like you have one of the cleanest cars. It's just amazing. So we'll get into it. Well, let's get started, Chris. Tell us about the front end, man, or lack of.
So I was able to talk to a police officer at a Cars and Conchas event about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I asked him in regards to hoods. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of polished bits and pieces in there. So I was like, hey, what are the regulations, the laws in regards to having a hood? The traffic cop that was with him was like, hey, man, you don't have to have a hood, but be prepared to, you know, kind of get harassed a little bit. I'll roll the dice on that one. The car's registered in South Florida, so I'm good for it. The whole front end, this is a 97. Everything's, you know, been kept with the 97, the 2000 era's theme.
So tell us about the body kit. Obviously, is this one of the body kits you sourced while you were in Japan?
So this was the only kit. So I like I said, I was in Japan for 5 years. The front lip, I chased for 3 years. It was on this woman's hatchback.
No way.
So you buy a car in Japan, it's just a whatever car, you're expected to get rid of it in 3 years. I remember seeing the car posted up for sale for like $1,000. Obviously, I didn't want to spend $1,000 to buy a lip. And just
people
sell
will
the
now.
car. Yeah, and people will now.
Yeah, people do, I mean.
But I remember I found a lady on the road one day, and I was like, hey, you know, I want to just buy the front piece. I'll give you $200 for it. No, I'm selling the car as is, you know, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Fast forward like 2 years later, I'm at a hobby shop in on one of the bases. And a hobby shop is, you know, it's got lifts, tools, everything you need to work on your car. And this younger kid rolls in with his blue hatchback, and I look at it and I was like, oh, that's the hatchback. And I look and the front bumper's still there. I'm sorry, the front lip. And he brings the car in over here. I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get just, you know, a little tune-up done, this, that, and this fixed. They gave him a number. He was like, man, that's a lot. This is a younger guy. He doesn't have obviously all his finances together yet in the military, because they like to blow money. I was like, hey man, I'll give you $100 just for that front lip. And he was like scratching his head. He's like, what do you want it? I was like, yeah, I just want it, man. You know, I had a crack on it at one point. I was like, I just want it. He's like, oh,
you can do a tune-up now.
And that's what I told him. Hey, you know, here's money to fix your car. He said yes. I literally ran from here to literally 100 feet to the ATM, because it was like the enlisted club on the other side. And I came back and I was like, here's $100. Take it off, and I rode out before he changed his mind. He didn't know any better. He wasn't into cars.
He's not into cars, yeah. So it's not like you were doing anything. Yeah.
Right. He was just like, yeah, I guess, like whatever. So I picked up the front lip, and I was like, okay, I got the front lip. But at that point, I already had bought MR5s, because those are my first Japanese wheels that I purchased from Up Garage. So it went from, you know, MR5s to the front lip, and then I was like, okay, the ball started rolling. So here I am, just slowly but surely collecting parts. It got out of hand, and that's where the M7s came from. Auction in Japan, everything.
Cool. Okay, so it's been resprayed, right?
Yes. So the car's been resprayed. It was resprayed in Virginia. The guy's name was Tony. WRX Scooby is his Instagram. He does paint, just phenomenal work. The car was gone for, I want to say it was like 4 months. I stripped everything off of it myself. You know, I literally brought him a rolling shell. It was
Oh wow.
just shell, no moldings, no door trim, no taillights, headlights. And I had tried my hand at shaving the engine bay. I'm not even starting on that.
At least you tried it.
Yeah, I tried it.
At least you tried it. Yeah.
At one point, I was like, let me try to paint the car, but then I was like,
Nope.
I'm not even trying to mix paint because I don't know how. If I mess this up, I got to sand the whole car down. If not, I'm going to get charged more for someone to sand the car down. I was like, I'll send it off.
Yeah, that's a smart decision.
Suspension's all coilovers all the way around, as well as the subframe brace in the back. The Mugen towers, front and rear. The rear one in the trunk is polished as well. I got a lot of crap for it because I polished, you know, Mugen bits, but
Who cares?
I have a spare set at the house too.
He had to throw that in there. We hate you.
Yeah.
The more you talk, the more we hate you and like you at the same time.
I had a great time in Japan.
We can tell.
Yeah, like I would go to the junkyard just for shits and giggles. So the factory, the Mugen wheels, the M7s, these are 15 by 6.5, I want to say it was, or 6. I've had them on there so long I can't remember. I picked these up in Japan, 4x100, not big 4. They've been awesome wheels. They look really good, honestly.
They look amazing.
They would look. I seen another guy when I went to the Enjoy Life event. He had them in 16s, and they were just like, they look so much better in 16s. Like they look tiny now. At 16s, it brings it to life. I'm just running some Dunlop Durezas. I've swapped tires on these like twice because I used them for my other set of wheels.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep wheels on hand, I guess you can say.
And what tire size is that?
This one's going to be a 205 50/15 on these.
Looks perfect, man. I wouldn't lower it.
It looks all right. But everybody, like we've all come to notice, is that different tires have different widths, different manufacturers.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Like the Toyos I have on my CX that goes nowhere, but it's got Toyos on there. The sidewall is meaty, you know, and this is not as meaty, but I mean, it doesn't need it. This car doesn't go to the track. It doesn't do pulls. It just gets me from event to event, thankfully, still.
Let's see. Tell us a little about the cockpit. What do you got going on?
So, in the cockpit, obviously being in Japan, I source parts. So, you'll hear me say that a few times.
I hate you.
As far as
You'll hear me say that a few times.
Recaro SR2s, the confettis, as you can see.
So hard to find.
Up garage special. I think they were like $300.
Oh my
yeah, this
God.
was obviously 2-3 years ago. The Mugen cluster, which is kind of one of those other sought after pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The Mugen cluster I picked up off of auction. The EK9 steering wheel, OEM mats, Sargent dead pedal, and then you know, just being at the store there, I was able to pick up a head unit. So it's a carrozzeria head unit. I kept it pretty much stock. I don't go too crazy with interiors as far as like roll cages and support bars. I mean, they look dope, but just this car just wasn't meant for it. Everything's still there. Everything works, minus the AC.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Big goal, honestly, is to put the AC back in this. It's just like...
Damn, that's how you know you're getting old.
Yeah, it's the creature comforts, for real. For real, because just having AC, because it does get hot here. From right before I got here, there was like 100-degree weather week. And it was like, my brother lives up in North Hills, and whew, he was like, it's 110. I was like, oh gosh. So yeah, definitely put the AC back in. But yeah, everything in the interior stock. You know, short shifter, Mugen knob to match the red layover for Mugen. And that's pretty much it for the interior.
Man, so what do we got going on in the engine compartment? Obviously extremely clean, one of the cleanest bays.
Thank you.
Tell us, what are we staring at, man?
All right, so this is a B18C that I pulled from a Integra Type R while I was stationed in Japan, in Okinawa. It came out of a 97 ITR that I found at the junkyard. I was able to get the transmission and the whole long block and head, everything, for obviously a great deal because the car was at the junkyard. There was nothing wrong with it. I think it had like a bad rear main seal. So obviously I picked it up and eventually ended up putting it in there. But if you look, MUGEN headers, MUGEN intake box, just little bits and pieces here and there. And then if you look on the back side, the intake has got a Jackson Racing supercharger for the intake side. Kind of wanted to keep it period correct with all the stuff that's on the car. It's been pretty good, no issues. When I was putting the motor together, I had the motor block and transmission casing. I had that Cerakoted, so that is why it looks so clean all the time. Cerakote is the same stuff they put on firearms, so you know that takes a lot of heat. And I mean, till this day, it hasn't faded. You know, we all rolled dice on spray painting or painting, and sometimes it works. And I was afraid of just doing all the work, and then you know, we like to brake clean things, and whoop, you just messed up your paint. Gotcha. It's got stock pulley on it, so it makes about 7-8 pounds. Again, it's nothing too crazy. I honestly feel that with the MUGEN setup, it does restrict a lot because it's got a twin loop coming out the back.
Oh, okay.
So
okay. So it loses a little bit.
Yeah, it does lose a little power there.
Well, you have all those parts, man.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better when that air box is off. You can actually hear the blower, which is cool. Like, I like to hear it, but driving it now, you don't really hear it. That, and so come to realize that the West Coast only has 91 octane where I'm around. The car's tuned for 93, so I can hear the pre-det.
Oh, okay.
So,
internals on the actual engine and transmission?
So everything is bone stock.
Okay.
Yeah, bone stock. Maybe valve springs and retainers I think I had put in, but other than that, you know, OEM to spec rebuild when I put the engine together. Bought all new rings, all new seals from Honda, like the whole nine.
When did you go coil on plug?
When? So I went coil on plug probably like 9 years ago, when it first came out. Actually, I traded a SC4 transmission from a EK4 SIR for the coil on plug setup from one of my buddies, Nick, in South Florida. So I was able to thankfully reuse it. Big goal is I'd like to reuse it again for a MUGEN valve cover. Okay. That Charlie Moua is making.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully I can get something to make the bracket fit into the MUGEN valve cover, because we all know that it's kind of like it's cut out differently in the insides.
Has it been tuned?
It has been tuned. DB Works out in Pennsylvania. Rob.
If you don't mind sharing, what kind of numbers?
So I want to say when it was tuned, I want to say it was 2 years ago. It made about 210. Okay. It's not bad. But again, this car is not meant to go fast anymore. It's just putts around.
Yeah, super clean setup.
Yeah, it's just clean. Like, I remember rolling up on a guy in the Corvette on 95 in the East Coast, and I mean, it sounded great. You know, American Muscle sounds good, but I look over and I could see that big meaty tire on the back, and he just looked at me, smiled, and he wanted to run, and I was like, exit here.
I'm not gonna break my shit right now. I know I'm gonna lose. I'm not gonna break it.
Yeah. Like, this is not one of the cars mounted with GoPros everywhere, like ready to eat. Like, this car is just gonna go to shows and look pretty.
Now, big question for you, because I know this, to me, this would be perfect, but obviously you have different standards. Any major plans for the engine bay?
I don't know. I've thought about pulling everything back out and maybe filling in some more holes. Man. Just kind of cleaning up the paint.
It's already so clean to begin with.
But the engine bay, I mean, it looks good. It's like factory-ish. Obviously, we know that the factory paint was not as shiny, but no, I think it'll stay stock.
And would you keep this B here?
No, this B is gonna come out.
Oh, okay.
So this one will go into my other car, and then I'll put a EM1 that I picked up here in Southern California. I picked up a B16, all matching numbers, and I'll probably put that in here. Ultimate goal. What's that?
Or with the Charger?
Yeah, with the supercharger, for sure. I think it'll probably run better with the B16 than the supercharger.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much for making time for us. This is absolutely, I don't know, man. This is surreal. The fact that you're from the East Coast, came out here killing the game, man. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for your service.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
No, man, this is quite a treat. Yeah, but any shout outs, man?
Yeah, everybody that's helped me along the way. Definitely Ken's Polishing, if you need polishing from him. Tony at the paint shop, he killed it on the paint. Everybody that supported me throughout the years, my brother, my wife, my kids, everybody that's helped me out on it, like, I do appreciate it. Thank you for supporting me. My parents at first didn't like my car hobby growing up, but I mean, I guess now they see what it turned out to. So I really do appreciate everybody that's helped me source parts or came along the way and helped me out on it. My friend Ski helped me out one of my other builds, and we destroyed it like 3 hours later. It was one of those learning experiences. It was great. Yeah, we dropped the motor into this after we rebuilt it, and some turbo diesel rolled up on me, and I was like, eh, whatever. Went at it, and sure enough, rod knock. Oh, game over. So,
Did you win?
Yeah. He just rolled. What's it called? He rolled coal. That's it. He just rode out. We were like, oh, well, that's it. Car's just knocking, so we left. So yeah, I appreciate all the help.
Well, thank you so much, man. I think, yeah, you definitely need to come out a little bit more than just one Cars and Coffee.
I'll definitely try to make it out to more events as soon as we're, out and about like regular people again.
It's difficult, but
there's been some good events already.
It's crazy. Yeah, the first time I saw this car, I was the Cars and Coffee as well, and just the fact that I didn't know who it was, and just to hear your story, man, thank you so much. Like, that goes to show you that there's people out even in Georgia, they're looking at magazines.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we take for granted what we have here, but obviously you guys don't, and thank you for reminding that.
Yeah,
man.
all in time. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. So source your parts, save your money for quality stuff if that's a build you want to go, but at the end, make sure that you're the one that likes it. Everybody else is going to have naysayers about, why'd you polish Mugen bars? Hey, it's your build. You do what you want.
Hell yeah, man. All right, well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks.